After you have worked hard to harvest your crops and yield from your animals, you'll likely want to sell some of the items you ended up with. Farmbrite has an entire market section for you to create your products and list them for sale in your online store, and then process and ship orders out to your customers. But what if not everything that you harvested is for sale? Let's think about some of these situations. You harvested hay from your fields, but also need to keep some in reserve for overwintering your cows. You harvested various crops from your beds, but have some prepaid CSA shares that you need to set aside. Or you yield gallons of milk from your cows and dozens of eggs from your chickens to sell, but also run a small baking business where you need some of those harvests to create your manufactured products. There are many more examples like this, but the main idea is the same. Not all of your harvest should be for sale in your online store, as you might have pre existing plans for some of it. You can account for all of this with a few simple selections in your product and inventory setup. Let's go over to the Farmbrite software and take a look. The first step to account for these situations is to create your products and inventory items. Or, if you've already created them, you can still make these selections by updating them. You'll want to start with products, so we'll navigate to Market, Products, and add a new one. There are many options available on this screen, and I encourage you to check out other Help Center resources to learn more about what all of the selections here can do. But for the purposes of this video, we'll give the product a name, a price, choose that it's sold in pounds, and then check the box to limit sales based on inventory. This expands another box for you to define the amount available for online sales. This is the total quantity of this product that your customers can purchase in the online store. Every time a purchase is made, Farmbrite will automatically deduct from this quantity, and once it reaches zero, the product will automatically be marked as sold out. I like to use the analogy here that if you were running an actual farm store at a physical location, this represents the amount that you might have on the sales floor, and in just a minute we'll take a look at your inventory, which might be more like your backroom storage. In our example, I know that we have 30 pounds of peppers available for sale, so I'll add that here, and then scroll to the bottom and save. Now that we have the product created, let's go to Resources and Inventory, where we've already created an existing item for our jalapeno peppers that reflects the current 30 pounds that we have available. We'll edit this item and see an option to Link to Product. Selecting the market product here establishes the connection to your inventory for two purposes. First, when you add or remove from the inventory item for things like a harvest or a delivery that you got or just using things around your farm, you'll be able to check a box to automatically update that linked product inventory that we just saw. Secondly, when you sell the product in your store, you can then remove the quantity sold from your inventory to fulfill your pick list and support traceability back to harvests. Now that we've linked the product and made that connection, let's save. And the next time we add or remove from this inventory item, we'll see a new checkbox to update the linked product amount. Since we're adding to inventory, checking this box will increase the amount available for online sales in the product by the amount that we add here. Of course, if you don't check that box, the quantity will still be added to your inventory, but the product quantity will remain the same. We'll keep this box checked as these 50 pounds of peppers should be for sale in our online store. We'll choose what warehouse we're storing them in, and a bin, and then save. And then when we navigate back to Market, go to Products, and choose those peppers, we'll see that there are now 80 pounds available for sale, reflecting the 50 pounds we just added on top of the 30 that we originally had. This same checkbox is also available when harvesting your crops, so let's go to a planting of those jalapeno peppers, select to harvest, and add a new one, and say that we harvested 100 pounds of these peppers. We'll save and add to inventory, where we can select our inventory item for the jalapeno peppers, and see that same checkbox here as well. Again, referencing back to those scenarios at the beginning of this video, if we needed to set aside this harvest for existing orders or manufacturing other products, we don't have to check the box, and we can still add them to our inventory and save. If we go back to Resources and choose that item, we'll see that those 100 pounds were added and reflected in our total available. But again, going back to the product, we'll see that they were not added here. One more thing to note though, let's say we went through that manufacturing process, made some salsa and had some peppers left over. If we did want to sell them, this amount available for online sales can always be updated manually as well. Just make sure that after editing it, you save. So now that you understand how this works, let's go back to the resources and inventory, open up those peppers one more time, and take a look at one additional checkbox that might streamline this process for you. You can select to update product amount available when adding or removing, to have that box checked by default when you are adding or removing from this particular item. This could help if the situations that we outlined at the beginning of this video are never applicable to this item, and that the additions and removals should always be included in the product quantity available for online sales. If we make that selection on this item and save, the next time we add, we'll see that box checked by default. That way you won't have to remember to check it if your storage room inventory should always be for sale on the sales floor. And that takes us through how you can make that connection and keep your inventories in sync. Reach out to us if you have any questions. We're always glad to help.